In deadlines, Addis launched projects drive national momentum. And Ethiopia steps into competitive tech future. Hello, this is ABC World, your new voice of Pan-Africanism, coming to you live from Addis Ababa. I'm Santayo Tamrat with the news hour. Do stay tuned. A bold vision that first took shape in the heart of Addis Ababa is now expanding across the entire nation. Today, it is being translated into real action, energizing a new generation and inspiring hope for greater heights. From Wenchi to Gorgora and beyond, these projects have reverberated across the nation, according to the Office of the Prime Minister. Let's take a look. Ethiopia is accelerating its push into the global digital economy, expanding infrastructure and positioning itself as a hub for business process outsourcing. Mikhail Alemu Gorski, author and AI researcher, says this effort signals a decisive move toward a more competitive, technology-driven future. Shagai Mata has more on that.
Ethiopia's drive for economic transformation is increasingly focused on improving people's well-being and tackling everyday challenges. This vision is now unfolding through a decisive shift toward the global digital and innovation economy. With a large, useful workforce, strong agricultural potential, and an expanding domestic market, the country is positioning itself to compete on the international stage. Speaking to EBC World at this dialogue, Mikhail Alemu Gorski, a lecturer, international strategist, and AI researcher at the Holland Institute of Technology in Israel, says this momentum is being fueled by a growing sense of urgency and a strong commitment from both the government and the key stakeholders to implement reforms and accelerate progress.
There is a sense of urgency at the top level of the government, at the business elite. Everybody is very much engaged with the reform and with the market development activities. And also at the level of people who are doing the reform, people who are implementing the reform. So this is great. A sense of urgency is present in Ethiopia, so that's important.
Business process outsourcing has been identified as a national priority, offering a pathway to job creation and integration into global value chains. While competition in the sector remains intense, there is a clear call for Ethiopia to strengthen its focus and scale up efforts to secure a stable and competitive position in the market, as per the researcher.
Ethiopia have to be either competing against existing players or getting the increased market. So this is good opportunity, and this is very proper way to focus countries' development.
At the same time, the country is working to leverage modern digital tools to better showcase its resources and opportunities to the world. Expanding access to education and targeted skills training is seen as critical, ensuring the workforce is prepared to meet the demands of a rapidly evolving digital economy.
Education of the new things, like what AI can do in the outsourcing that your company want to engage with, how AI is expected to be there, and what we have to learn to be able to provide the services on the new level with the AI, like AI enhanced services. So education is must. The programs have to be developed. It's a big challenge. You have to think about it. You have to learn to study this.
With vast human potential and growing digital ambition, Ethiopia is laying the foundation for a competitive future in the global economy. As reforms gather pace, the country's path forward signals strong prospects for inclusive growth and sustained development.
The 16th African Risk Capacity Continental Conference is set to take place in Addis Ababa from April 8 to 10, 2026. Commissioner of the Disaster Risk Management Commission, Shifarau Teklemariam, announced the event during a press briefing held Monday. He stated that the conference will primarily focus on exploring effective ways to prevent natural disasters across the African continent, while also strengthening financial capacity for disaster risk management. Ethiopia's selection as a host is said to reflect its growing leadership in key development areas. According to the commissioner, Ethiopia's notable achievements in initiatives such as the Green Legacy Program, food sovereignty, the green economy, and humanitarian response have positioned the country as a model on the continent. The conference is anticipated to play a significant role in shaping Africa's future approach to disaster risk management. Leaders of Ethiopia's major civil society organizations have pledged to intensify voter education programs and strengthen election observation ahead of the country's 7th general election. They have also welcomed the National Election Board of Ethiopia's newly introduced digital tools, highlighting their role in enhancing transparency and broadening citizen participation in the electoral process. For more on that, here is Kasaun Chane.
Ethiopia's leading civil society organization says also pledged to launch a massive expansion of voter education and election observation programs ahead of the nation's high-stakes 7th general election. Welcoming the National Election Board of Ethiopia's latest digital innovations, CESO leaders reported these tools, including the Mirca mobile application, are essential for institutionalizing transparency and broadening citizen participation in a democratic process. Getinat Gaba, Executive Director of the Ethiopian Civil Society Organizations Forum, stated that member institutions are currently mobilizing diverse resources to help the public navigate these new digital platforms and strengthen civic engagement. He emphasized that the shift toward digital tools represents a critical turning point for electoral accessibility across the country.
National Election Board has launched Mirca application because the utilization of technology is very important. It has numerous effects on the transparency and the effectiveness of the election.
Furthermore, Averra Hailemariam, Executive Director of the Coalition of Ethiopian Civil Society Organizations for Election, recommended the government and stakeholders prioritize inclusive access to these digital systems to ensure no voter is left behind. He asserted that while large-scale observation remains a priority, intensive voter education is the definitive cornerstone for a credible peaceful election cycle.
To help voters understand how to use that technology, particularly the technology doesn't force people who do not have the knowledge and the skills to get registered using the digital way of registration. Rather, it is going to be implemented in the urban area where the access to these technologies are available, and
organizations reaffirm their commitment to coordinating these efforts to ensure a robust and transparent electoral environment.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the news from ABC World. And finally, Minister of Water and Energy says Ethiopia's multi-stake hydro diplomacy conference has proved successful. The country's Minister of Water and Energy, Habtamu Ittafa, also told ABC World that the Water and Hydro Diplomacy Conference dwelt at length on cementing regional cooperation. Let's take a look. Speaking to ABC World, Ethiopian Minister of Water and Energy Habtamu Ittafa mentioned that there was lack of organized data-based scientific research and media communication in foreign languages regarding the realities of Ethiopia on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam and the Abai or the Nile waters.
Because the world has been understanding wrongly what we have been doing, including the GERT, including other infrastructures that we have been developing in our water source. 4 years back, when we try to assess what has been going on in Ethiopia, we have identified two critical gaps. Number one, we don't have appropriately compiled research documents to tell Ethiopia is doing this. Our brothers on downstream, they have this one. Nothing is there at all. You can see people here and there trying to publish, trying to talk, or you may have few individuals who are defending the interest of Ethiopians, which is not coordinated.
To address this, the Ethiopian Ministry of Water and Energy established a Water, Hydro Diplomacy and Communication National Conference 4 years back. And over the years, the conference has proved successful, according to the minister.
This Hydro Diplomacy Forum is really successful in terms of what we have been doing, and we are now engaging Ethiopian professionals, especially scientists, in hydrology, in environment, in international laws, and so on, environmentalists too. Then now it's going beyond Ethiopia. On this event, we invited the ministers and the technical advisory committees. TAC means the technical advisory committee of the NEBI member countries, which are supporting all the ministers in terms of technical issues. They are here now. So it is more than successful, and we are so happy about it.
Now the national conference has taken a regional shape, cementing Ethiopia's commitment to regional cooperation over the Nile waters, Minister Habtamu stressed.
We are ready for that, and already we started the action. For example, the power connection between Ethiopia and Kenya is part of the cooperation. The power connection between Ethiopia and Djibouti is a part of the cooperation. The freely providing water supply for our Djibouti brothers is beyond the cooperation, which has a capacity of up to 100,000 meters cubed per day. They are taking water from this part of Ethiopia, while we are not insufficient water. Ethiopia is going beyond cooperation for that one. The dam, the GERD that we have been building by our own budgets, by the individual contribution of Ethiopian citizens, is already supporting or favoring our brothers on Sudan, our brothers in Egypt.
Since Ethiopia has several transboundary rivers, the minister called on the local media also to build the narrative on hydro-diplomacy-related topics in the language that can be understood by the regional countries and beyond. That's the news we have for the hour, and a quick reminder of top stories now. Addis launched projects drive national momentum. And Ethiopia steps into competitive tech future. Thank you so much for watching the news from ABC World. I'm Sadayot Amrat with the news. Do stay tuned with the rest of ABC World programs. And see you.